Hey guys, my name is Lucas and welcome back to my studio. In this video I will share with you my top 3 tips and a bonus tip on how you can actually finish your song. Let's get into it. Okay, so many of you probably know the feeling of making a loop, a melody, some chords that you really like, but you can't seem to get out of this loop thing and you will never finishing your track. This happens to a lot of new producers and experienced producers and professional producers as well. And there are some methods that you can use to get around this problem. So I will share with you my 3 tips today, and I will be using FL Studio for this tutorial, but you can use any music software and DAW that you want. And if my microphone is picking up some weird noises today, it's because it's very windy in Denmark today. So I'm sorry for that, but we will continue on. But let's get into the first tip. So the first tip I want to share with you is make something good from the beginning. Don't spend only 10 minutes on something which you don't like. Of course, if you like it, it's fine, but don't think that you need to hurry stuff. For instance, when I started out on this project that you see on my screen right now, I started with only this tiny loop right here. Let me just select it for you guys. This was the only thing that I had in the beginning, and I spent some days on this loop as well. And then I moved on and created something more out of it. So this is what I started out with. I spent some days working on this loop and I really liked it. And my point here is that it's really important to get going well from the beginning. If you start out with something that you don't like, you will eventually remove stuff, you will add stuff, you will tweak stuff, and you will start over and you will try something that doesn't work. Sit down, spend some time on it. It's okay to go back and forth from your computer and try something new, eat some food, go back and try again. Find something that you like before you move on. That was my tip number 1. Okay, so for my tip number 2, we are going to talk about something called sample managers or sample libraries. And today I want to share with you 2 managers or libraries that I have found on the internet which works perfectly, and I'm actually using both of them when I'm producing right now. So the first one that I want to show you, that is the ADSR sample manager. I just want to pull it up on the screen for you. So here we have the ADSR sample manager, which is an amazing thing to have. It's free on the ADSR website. This has not been sponsored, by the way. But what this lets you do is to locate all of your samples on your PC, and then it will automatically tag all of your samples. For instance, this one is drums and hi-hat. I search for hi-hat, and then all of my hi-hat loops will come up to me. You can select loops and you can select one-shots, and it will filter out what you want or what you need. You can also change the tempo to your current project. For instance, mine is 118, and then I will change this to 118, and all of the samples will be played in 118 when I touch them. And this is really great because you can also just drag and drop these directly into your music program. Another sample manager I want to talk about is the Komplete Kontrol. Let me just pull it up on the screen for you guys. Here we have the Komplete Kontrol. This comes along with the native instruments when you install their products. I'm a really big fan of native instruments, and again, this has not been sponsored. So right now we have an empty sampler, but I can go into my instruments, I can go into my loops, and I can go into my one-shots. But let's say that I want a hi-hat loop, just like before. Then I can go into my all loops, I can select drums, and I can select, let's say I want a hi-hat closed. I can just move this out of the way, and then I can also change the tempo to whatever I like. Let me just change it to 118, and then I can listen to all of my samples. So a sample manager is really great when you want to filter out what you need, because I have so many samples you won't even believe it. When I started producing, I thought the more you have, the better, but that is really not the case. You need only what you need. So this is a great way for me to find exactly what I need. You can also search for whatever you want. Because when you have too much, it can be hard to find exactly the one thing that you're looking for. So this is a really great way for me to localize whatever I want. And as you can see, the Komplete Kontrol also work with one-shots as well. You can also drag these directly into your music program. And if you have the Komplete Kontrol and all of the native instruments, then you can also find the instruments from native instruments within this as well. So this has a lot of opportunities for you. So my tip number 2, again, use some sort of manager to save time and to find your samples as quick as possible. So those were my 2 first tips, and those are kind of workflow tips. The next one is how to avoid getting stuck when actually arranging, being creative and producing at the same time. A lot of producers, including myself, tend to spend a lot of time tweaking and touching buttons and doing all sort of stuff that doesn't make sense in the beginning of a track, because we want our sound to sound as the professionals. But that just isn't the case. We can't do that when we are starting out. So if we look at all of these channels right here, I have my effects slots. This is where you will typically put in an EQ, a compressor, some reverb, and so on. But as you can see, I have almost nothing on these effect channels right here. I have only used some EQ from the already built-in EQ in this mixer. But you still need to be able to listen to what you're doing. So what I have been doing for the last couple of months is to actually, let's go into this piano right here. This is from Addictive Keys, and what I have been doing is to use the built-in equalizers, the built-in filters, the built-in compressors from the plugins instead of spending time on the effect slots, because all of these internal EQs, compressors, filters has been directly made to this exact sound, so it will work so good to this exact plugin. The same goes for this pad, for instance. In my chorus I have this pad going on. Which comes directly from the flex from FL Studio. So as you can see, I have made a high pass. I have put on some distortion. And I have made some envelopes. And again, all of this within the plugin itself. And when I got out of the plugin, I just applied some slight EQ, but that doesn't take more than 10 seconds to do. And my point here is, when you find a sound, shape the sound within the plugin instead of shaping it out of the plugin. Of course, on this bass right here, I used some distortion because I didn't like the distortion within the plugin. Then it's fine. It's fine to use plugins when you are doing sound design, but in the beginning, don't use plugins for mixing. This will just take out all of your time and you will be set back so many hours in your projects. So these were my top 3 tips on how you can avoid being stuck in producing, but I have one bonus tip for those of you who actually plays an instrument. So let me just, you can see my piano right here, and I will just be using this one. I need to unmute it. There we go. So this pattern right here, it sounds like this. And if I were to draw out these notes manually, it will take me forever to find this exact pattern, because I really like playing my things out on a piano. I play the piano. So let me just try to play this out for you guys. So as you can see and hear, the pattern that you're hearing right here is actually recorded as a MIDI file from my piano, and then I went in and made everything in tune and in beat. So this is just a tiny workflow tip, but it's really neat to go in and play something. it saves you so much time instead of going and dragging out all of your notes. It's much easier to just go in and play it if you can. So if you don't play a piano or a guitar or something in that genre, go learn how to play it, because it will save you so much time. Okay guys, so there you have it. Those were my top 3 tips and the bonus tip that will make you actually finish your songs. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if you haven't already. I will be making much more videos like this in the future. But until next time, I will see you.